the Lord called for reflection. The people chose entertainment, a different response, a different response. The issue was not the food itself. The issue was the heart. The people refused to take the warning seriously. The warning ignored. This becomes one of Isaiah's recurring themes. People can become very busy, very active, very prepared, and still fail to address the central issue. The heart matters. The heart matters. Then comes a severe conclusion. This iniquity shall not be purged.
And he discovered the covering of Judah, and that it's looking that day to the armor of the house of the forest. Yea, he made also a ditch between the two walls for the water of the old pool. But ye have not looked unto the maker thereof. And in that day did the Lord God of hosts call to weeping, and to mourning, and to baldness, and to girding with sackcloth. And behold, joy and gladness, slaying oxen and killing sheep. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we shall die. Surely this iniquity shall not be purged from you till ye die, saith the Lord God of hosts. Oh, saith the Lord God of hosts. The people respond quickly, they inspect the armor, they count the weapons, they examine the defenses. Check the armor, strengthen the walls. Notice something important. These actions are not presented as foolish by themselves. Cities need defenses, walls have purposes. Water matters during sieges. Preparation matters, preparation matters. The people repair breaches.
Fill the reservoir. That would be nice. Should have done that. Anyway, whatever. Should have done that over here in California. Seems like a good idea. I feel I don't know. Anyways, make that guy president. No, no, no. Are you? People. Okay. But he's. All right, so I'm gonna try to brainstorm again a little bit. I started going through the course yesterday, so I'm gonna noodle that around. I think I'm gonna try to think about a capo on this thing to start off with, but try to think about it a little bit more in accordance with like what like the actual fretboard is doing instead of just like instead of just like thinking of like I'm playing like the same thing as though it's an an A minor is the A minor up here, but it's not an A minor. See, if we think modally, then the whole capo thing actually makes a lot more sense. I feel like. So I'll try. I'm kind of think about that for a second. Haven't really played with that actually, even though I've been doing this. Like anyway. Uh. So let's say I put the capo on this bad doggy, like way up here. Is that too high? Probably. I was messing with it before, or... okay, so what I'm thinking with the capo thing, I didn't describe my capo thing. Still thinking of it the old way. So I'm thinking like, if I'm at 4 o'clock and I put the capo up here on the, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4th fret up, 1, 2, 3, 4th. I'm capoing this. So if I don't change the collection, then, then I'd still be playing at the Ionian would be a C, right? So there's the C. If I was in open position back here, Ionian would be that C from this perspective. So what I really want to do, obviously, instead of thinking up here like I'm playing the same thing as like the way I normally think of it, I think the way most people explain it is like, oh, I'm playing the same thing as though this part of the guitar is back here, so that I'm still playing the same shape. Like here's my A, I'm just riffing off of an A shape, right? And Aeolian. But if I think about it as Aeolian, and you think about the shift, then it makes more. Then you can actually see it as like within the structure of the guitar, and might be able to practice more mindfully about what you're actually playing by relative modal perspective. Meaning, if I think about it by modal chords, I'm playing at 4 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of C, but I'm playing an Aeolian tonic progression, there, right? I'm basically playing an A in an Aeolian. So if I shift this up, what the capo's really doing to make this same shape up here would mean that I've got to make like that C right there needs to be, or that Aeolian, let's say, needs to be relative to this one. It needs to be like right there, right? So that means that this Aeolian needs to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes sense because I put the capo 4 on the 4th fret. It needs to move up 4. So 4 plus 4, if I'm at 4 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of C, it would be going to 8 o'clock, right? So now I can see where the capo is at. So now I'm at the Aeolian up here. And why is that useful? Because now I can see that I still have this A shape, and I'm still doing the same shapes as though like the normal language would be, well, that would be an A minor. But no, that's not actually right, because you're not playing an A, up here in this part of the neck. I don't really, like, what I'd really want to know is basically if I'm on up this side of the neck, what am I, like, I'm at 8 o'clock, meaning it would be the collection of notes around the Ionian is now an E. An E is, so I'm in the collection notes around E major, and I'm playing the related Aeolian over here, which is gonna be, what is that, G sharp? Is that right? I don't know. See, it gets all messed up once I have the capo on. I can't even see. Like, I just start thinking like, well, that's the new bar, and everything is A minor. So I think that's the way you kind of ingrain it in your mind. But if I think about this as, no, now I'm on the 4th fret and everything is still the same, but I'm playing an Aeolian chord. It's not an A minor chord. These are both Aeolian chords, right? This wasn't an Aeolian chord at 4 o'clock, right? That's why I'm saying if we named it relative position, that was an Aeolian chord, 4 o'clock Aeolian. This is now an 8 o'clock Aeolian capoed, but it's in the same position on the guitar, right? And now everything makes sense, because then if I go to the C, I could say, well, now I'm still playing an 8 o'clock Ionian, C chord, right? That would be here, right? Ionian, and then I could play, and the same chords, a G, an E minor chord would be here would be an E minor chord, and that would be now, I would call that a Phrygian chord, right? Because it's, okay. So if we named it by the relative nodal points, then I can actually start naming things like, okay, now I'm playing, because like now I'm playing at 8 o'clock Aeolian chord, which is like an A minor shape. I'm just arpeggiating it. And then I'm going to an 8 o'clock Ionian chord. Keeping this finger down, obviously. Back to then open strings are cool because I have a capo on it now, so whatever. Back to an A minor. Back to not an A minor, back to an Aeolian chord, an 8 o'clock Aeolian. It's an 806 chord, right? 8 o'clock, 806. 6 is Aeolian. 806 chord. And then I can go up to the related E minor shape. Be here, there's the shape, and the open E is the thing, right? And that would be a Phrygian chord. So it's an 8 o'clock Phrygian chord, 803 chord. Back to an 806 chord. The Aeolian chord, the tonic. Aeolian, Ionian chord, Phrygian chord, or if I name them by modal, the Nashville number system is basically, right, that's the 6 chord, but it's my tonic, so I'm not going to make it the 1. I'm just going to keep it at nodal point 6 as from the perspective of the Ionian. 6 chord, 1 chord, even though, again, that's not really my tonic. The 6 is the tonic because I'm not going to renumber it because that's crazy. My 3. There's the 2 chord, Dorian. So if you just say I'm going to do the Nashville number system, but I'm not going to renumber it if I change tonics to any tonic, and I realize that the Nashville number system, therefore, is simply the nodal points, and the nodal points are a better name for the chords than calling it an A chord, because it's not an A minor chord anymore because you're not on an A, but you are on an Aeolian with 6 chord, right? So if you called it an 806 chord, meaning 8 o'clock, collection of notes around E, and it's the 6th modal point. See how that would actually mean that that would, if I start naming it like that, I'm like, oh, wait a sec, now I actually know what it means, kind of, which would be kind of useful. Instead of being like, well, I'm just kind of playing A minor, even though it's not an A minor, but the capo's there, so it's kind of like an A minor. And so I'm playing like an A minor, like a C, like an E, but like it's totally not, but it kind of is. But it totally is an Aeolian chord, or 6 chord, right? If you want to call it that, it's an 806 chord, 8 o'clock Aeolian, 806 chord, 801 chord, 803 chord, 802 chord, right? That would make more sense, I feel like. And then I could don't know. Whew. I'm a little tired already. Let's try a joke break. And another political joke. I'd piss people off if anyone listened, but that's okay. No one's listening anyway. All right. So I'm still ranting on this Democratic Socialists of America thing. If Zoran Mandani is leading the charge here, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We're in trouble, man. Bernie Sanders passing the torch to the worst people imaginable. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Crying out loud, man. All right. Okay. So I had everything backwards before, so I think I fixed it now. So I was like doing everything backwards for like 3 days. So that's interesting. But I think it's fixed now. So whatever. Doesn't really matter, I guess. So let's see. All right, so the basic gist is in American politics, the commies are basically teaming up with the jihad people. And they're like, and that's the new strategy. That's the seasoning that they need to make communism work now, which they're going to call socialism. And that's going to, and then they call it Democrat Socialist of America Party or something. I don't know. So that's like the plan. It sounds like a run back of the old plan, but no, it's totally different. That's because the Democrats are they're so short on new ideas. They're basically opening like a history book and treating them like cookbooks at this point. You know, let's see, socialism. Nope. Tried that again. Let's do it again. Tried that too. Okay, we'll do it again. No, we tried that as well. Let's try it in a different location. We've done that. Let's try it with a different culture. We've done that too. Okay. Well, what if we call it Democrat socialism? We're innovating. No, we've seen that pretty much before too. No, Democrat, like it means like democratic. So they're not reinventing the wheel here. They're just repainting the flat tire at this point. It's ridiculous. It's like a political version of Control C, Control V at this point. That's all it is. The idea generator has been stuck on replay since 1917 at this point, and look at them. They're still so excited. They're still so excited. Like, I don't know how this story ends. I've never seen this before. This is amazing. Every time the old idea fails, they don't throw it out. What they do is they add garnish. Just add a little garnish, and when your entire platform is like the same recipe with different garnish, maybe you're not a chef at that point, okay? You're just seasoning the disaster. But this time they figured it out. They've got the secret sauce. Apparently the problem wasn't socialism. The problem wasn't communism. So socialism just needed the sprinkle. It needs a redisprinkle I can't say that word. They just needed to fix the dry desert of their mind by having a brainstorm dance. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna have a brainstorm dance and they're gonna fix it because their mind was like a desert, man, a dry, cracked, barren, intellectual wasteland where no original idea had sprouted in generations. Yet they're still so gleeful with those smiles and whatnot. It's crazy. So they climbed up to the high places, formed a circle, started chanting the classic communist chant of John Lennon's Imagine, and performed a ceremonial brainstorm rain dance. Brainstorm rain dance. Here we go. They're chanting, Imagine no possessions. Imagine no countries. Imagine this working for once ever after being tried a million freaking times and it's just stupid, but let's do it. And they're hoping like Baal will moisten the desert ground of their mind so that the same old recycled idea can finally sprout again. But this time with seasoning. This time with seasoning. That's the difference. The thunder cracks, lightning flashes, a signal drop falls, a single drop. So someone catches it in a mason jar and screams, I've got it! I've got it! The whole committee leans in. What if we take socialism, which has never worked before, go on, and combine it, with radical jihad? Oh my goodness. And everybody's like, that's brilliant. That was the missing piece. That's the garnishment we needed. It never worked before because we weren't teaming up with enough people who want to destroy everything. That was the problem. Personally, I'm a little skeptical if a plan created by people who seem to believe rain is the manifestation of like a god bull with a head of like Karl Marx like urinating on him. But I don't know. And I'm even more skeptical when their solution is teaming up with people whose theory of government seems to be first we destroy everything and then God will totally fix it. Because it'll be all broken and we'll break it to the point where God has to come in and clean the room. And it's like, that's not political philosophy. That's like child logic. That's like a kid trashing his room and saying, once I make this room completely unlivable, my parents will have no choice but to buy me a bigger one with like women in it and stuff. Like big boobied women will be all over my new room once I totally mess this one up. It's like, no, little Timmy. They're going to make you clean the room. That's what's going to happen. At some point, we shouldn't be talking to Karl Marx anymore. We should be talking to Sigmund Freud with these people. I mean, because this doesn't feel like economics. This feels unresolved parenting issues wearing like the Che Guevara, whoever shirt and holding a protest sign or whatever. Call the brainstorming session produced exactly one new idea. Call the old idea something new. It's always the same new idea. Let's call the old idea something new until we confuse the crap out of everyone. And once everyone's totally freaking confused because nothing means nothing no more, maybe we can run it back again. Then add chaos. Then act surprised when the room catches fire. That's the plan. That's the plan. We've seen it before. We've seen it. We'll see it again. And we'll all act surprised. And it'll be great. It'll be great. And I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Let's go back to my ranting. Let's see. Back to 4:00. So what I'm doing on my project now, I think I'm ready to start recording now, but I've mapped it out. So now I'm just gonna, I'll just keep on mulling it over in my session, and then I'll noodle around in between, and then I'll practice my Spanish as I go, just to kind of solidify the details in my mind. Aura doesn't have all the information because it's a new chat with her, but so let's not be overly critical at the fact that she is overly critical because she doesn't really know what she's talking about because she doesn't have all the information. So we'll try to cut her a little slack, even though she's always like a downer, man. And then chat has some information, so probably more productive. I will speak English and try to get them to speak Spanish so I can practice my Español en lo mismo tiempo. Okay, so here we go. Chachita, quiero practicar español en la forma de ustedes unidos latinoamericanos que están en California, tal vez en una forma que es informal, usan palabras que eran, tal vez no eran palabras, pero eran palabras, ¿sabes? que estoy tratando de decir porque personas me gustan las palabras, pero las palabras no en la dictionary. No sé, la dictionary tal vez no es una palabra, pero esto no es que yo tratando de decir. ¿Sabes qué estoy tratando de decir? Y también hablamos de música, teoría en el mismo tiempo. Yo hablo en inglés, tú hablas en español. ¿Puedes entenderme? See if it understands that.
Simón, te entendí perfectamente. Lo que estás tratando de decir es que quieres practicar un español como el que hablan muchos latinos en California, especialmente entre mexicanos y otros latinoamericanos. Es un español relajado, callejero, natural, con palabras inventadas, abreviaciones, expresiones locales y hasta palabras mezcladas que todo el mundo entiende, aunque no aparezcan en el diccionario. Cosas como ¿qué onda? Simón, órale, neta, está chido. No manches. Ese rollo. Ándale. Ahorita. Se me hizo. Está medio raro. Bien cañón. Y sí, a veces la gente dice palabras incorrectas a propósito o mezcla inglés y español. Como tú prefieres sin Spanglish, voy a mantenerlo en puro español, pero con ese estilo relajado de barrio angelino de los 80 y 90. Y también entendí la otra regla. Tú hablas en inglés. Yo siempre te contesto en español. Y mientras platicamos, hablamos de tu sistema de teoría musical. Entonces, por ejemplo, si tú me dices en inglés, open quote, I think the modal center is more like sorting than filtering. Close quote. Yo te respondería algo así, open quote. Mira, carnal, yo también lo veo por ese lado. Cambiar el centro modal no le cambia las notas al sistema. Más bien, cambia desde cuál perspectiva las estás mirando. Es como agarrar el mismo montón de datos y acomodarlo diferente. O sea, el contenido sigue igual. Lo único que cambia es el orden o el punto de referencia. Ya cuando cambias la colección de notas, ahí sí está más pesado el asunto, porque ahora sí cambian las relaciones entre las notas. Ese rollo ya se parece más a una transformación que nomás a un ordenamiento. Close quote. Así quiero que practiquemos. Relajado, natural, como si estuviéramos echando la plática después de tocar guitarra o de trabajar en Excel con un cafecito al lado. ¡Órale! Cuando quieras, aviéntame tu siguiente idea en inglés y seguimos con la música.
Chachita talks. Can't just get a simple answer with this thing. Let's try to get Aura on board. Aura! Aura! Quiero practicar español en la forma de Estados Unidos, en Los Ángeles, que California, que en de los latinos, en una forma que es informal, usan palabras que tal vez no eran palabras en realidad, pero son cosas que personas me gusta que decir. ¿Puedes entenderme? Y también cuando hablamos, yo hablo en inglés, tú hablas en español y hablemos de música, teoría tradicional contra una forma que es nuevo y más importante o mejor en cada manera. ¿Puedes entenderme?
Claro. Sí, te entiendo. Me dijiste que hablemos de música, lo tradicional versus lo nuevo, y que tú hablas en inglés y yo en español, de forma bien callejera como los latinos en Los Ángeles. ¿Seguimos? ¿Qué tipo de música quieres comparar primero?
let's see where I was yesterday. I think I have everything turned around the right way this time. Maybe. Tal vez. So that got that going for us, which is nice. Okay. So I was trying to map out my course, comparing the DAW system in QuickBooks to the system in music, and I'm going to reconcile the two, and I mapped out like my courses on it now. So now I'm just trying to get down to the nitty and the gritty of it as I map this thing out. So man, my throat is messed up. It's not good. Don't go. My voice is going. Don't go, voice. Don't go. You're all I got. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm thinking about mapping each one of these things out, and so what I'm thinking then is that I started mapping out, like, I'm gonna do the accounting side, and then the other side, the music side, first in Excel, and then I'm gonna move to a combo course of it. And then I'll map them out on OneNote, and then once I'm done with a section, I will recap the section possibly with the PowerPoints. So what I'm on right now is I've mapped out the accounting side of like the account names, the account numbers, and then the account types and the departments as the underlying foundational kind of components. And then on the music side, what I need to do, I need to reorganize this when I map it out, because it's kind of from another, because on this side, I'm going to map out the notes. Now, when I map this out in Excel, I'm actually aiming still more at the accounting people. So I'm actually going to be kind of, so maybe when I do this one, I'm going to add the tab of the accounting tab that I did, but I'm not going to actually work it in that course, you know, because I'm just going to compare, like, this is what I would build if I was building up from the ground up on the accounting side, so that I can go back and forth, and then I combine them together in like the combined course, you know? So, so then like I'm going to take, and then so I'll like compare the notes in the musical alphabet to the accounts over here, and then the account numbers will be compared to the 12 numbers in the musical alphabet that have to be like in order and stuff, you know? You can't like just have them like out of order, and I can tell the differences between the account numbers, because the account numbers, like, you want to have spaces because you might put stuff in between, but the music numbers no. And then I'm going to have the octave situation, which is kind of a problem on the music side for me, because I would prefer, if I was to rework it, that it should go from A to G sharp. I mean, why do we have A to G sharp as our musical alphabet, and then we start to name the octave at C? Because the piano. I know, because the piano, but still, that's a problem. That's stupid. You know, like, it should go from A, and why do we call middle C 4? C4. No, we should start nice and symmetrical from A to G sharp. That should be like 0, like the 0, like that where you normally play from the human standpoint. And then we should go up like 2 octaves up, and then down 2 octaves like the other way. That's how it should be, but it's not. And so I think I'm going to have to, I don't know if it's worth my time, like, to fix that, you know, because I feel like I have a responsibility to fix it, because I'm fixing the whole system and everything. But at the same time, it's like I already talked about it before, and maybe it would just be easier to stick to the C4 language and whatnot, you know. But in any case, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. It's weird that it starts on C instead
Habla
of
en
A.
español, por favor. See, she agrees with me in English.
Sí, estoy de acuerdo contigo.
Once
Es
you
raro que
start
todo
getting
empiece
Spanish,
en do central en vez de la, sobre todo si quieres que el sistema sea lógico y limpio. Tienes razón en eso. Pero si vas a enseñarles a contadores o gente de negocios, mejor quédate con el sistema tradicional de C4. Cambiarlo podría confundirlos más de lo que les ayuda. ¿Qué piensas hacer al final?
all right. Let's see what Chachita has to say on that. Chachita gives me the detailed answers. So I'll noodle around for the next, 30 minutes or something as she explains herself. Probably won't be that long. I'm just exaggerating. But, see what she's got to say.
Sí, carnal, yo creo que aquí hay una diferencia entre arreglar el sistema y hacer que la gente pueda usar el sistema. Yo haría una separación muy clara. Primero, enseña usando el estándar. Aunque tú pienses que el estándar tiene defectos, la gente ya conoce C4, C5, C3. Si alguien abre un DAW, un teclado MIDI o un editor de partituras, eso es lo que va a ver. Entonces, para el curso de Excel, yo usaría A Ashara B, Jehara, C4, MIDI estándar. Así el estudiante nunca siente que tiene que aprender dos idiomas al mismo tiempo. Después, dedica una sección a si yo hubiera diseñado esto desde cero. Eso sí, me parece muy interesante. Podrías decir algo como, Open Quote, ahora que ya conocemos el estándar, vamos a hacer un pequeño experimento mental. Si hoy diseñáramos este sistema desde cero para una computadora, ¿lo construiríamos igual? Close Quote. Y ahí explicas, ¿por qué empezar el conteo del octavo en C? ¿Por qué el alfabeto empieza en A pero el número empieza en C? ¿Qué ventajas tendría un sistema centrado en A? ¿Qué ventajas tendría un sistema centrado en cero? Eso convierte la discusión en diseño de sistemas, no en una pelea contra la tradición. Además, creo que fortalece tu comparación con contabilidad, porque puedes decir, Open Quote. En contabilidad no renumeramos todas las cuentas solamente porque podríamos hacer un sistema más elegante. Trabajamos con el estándar primero y luego analizamos sus fortalezas y debilidades. Close quote. Eso es exactamente lo mismo en música. Hay otra razón que me gusta todavía más. Todo tu proyecto gira alrededor de una idea. Open quote. Los sistemas de información son decisiones de diseño. Close quote. Eso aplica a los números de cuenta, el catálogo de cuentas, los nombres, el MIDI, las letras, las octavas, los modos. No estás diciendo que la música esté mal. Estás mostrando que todo sistema de clasificación implica decisiones y concesiones. Y eso conecta muchísimo con los contadores, porque ellos viven haciendo eso. Hay otra cosa que noté mientras hablabas. Tu comparación ya está tomando una forma bastante limpia. Yo la organizaría más o menos así. Contabilidad, música, nombre de cuenta, nombre de nota, número de cuenta, número cromático 112 o 011, tipo de cuenta, octava o registro, departamento. Después agregarás la dimensión equivalente, reportes, escalas, acordes o vistas del mismo conjunto de datos. Lo interesante es que todavía no has llegado a los procesos. Hasta ahora solo estás construyendo el modelo de datos. Eso es exactamente lo que hace un diseñador de bases de datos antes de escribir una sola consulta o un solo reporte. Y creo que ese puede ser un mensaje muy fuerte para el curso. Antes de automatizar Excel, primero diseñas correctamente la información. Después vienen las fórmulas, los filtros, las tablas dinámicas y los reportes. Lo mismo pasa con tu sistema musical. Primero defines el modelo. Luego generas todas las vistas posibles a partir de ese mismo conjunto de datos. Esa analogía, para un contador acostumbrado a pensar en datos estructurados, puede resultar muy natural.
interessante, like an Ella frickin' Fonte. Alright. Okay, so the next issue I have is that there's a difference here that when I map this out, because now I'm going to say, okay, so the account numbers line up pretty much, but they have to be in order similar to the alphabet has to be in order, meaning it's in order by account type. So I have this added component of the account type in the accounting side, which I don't really have over here on the music side for the account type. You can kind of think of the relative positions as account types, but that doesn't really work. The nodal points, meaning 1 is Ionian, 1.5 is Ionian Ocean, 2 is Dorian, 3 is Dorian Ocean, 4 is Phrygian, 3 is Phrygian, 4 is Lydian. But that doesn't really work because they're not absolute types, because they're going to change relative, whereas the account types do not. They're absolute. So I think that's a difference that I'll have to point out. And then I'm comparing the departments over here to the octave levels in general. So the octave levels in general, like C4 down to C3 down to C2, and then C4 up to C5 to C6. And that would compare to the octave. So over here on the departments, I'm only going to have 2 departments, but in the music side, we'll have it 2 octaves up, 2 octaves down, which is kind of an overkill, but it is what it is. And then, but there's a bit of a difference in structure, because when I look at the accounting, the departments are typically going to not be on a vertical nature on the trial balance, because you could imagine having a trial balance, all the accounts, and then a trial balance underneath it of the second department, the sum of them still debits and credits adding to 0, or sub accounts. So I could explain that, but more likely you're going to use class tracking or something like that, breaking out the departments in a column by column, side by side structure. Whereas on the music side of things, then you certainly want to have the octaves mapped out in a vertical fashion over here. So I'm almost thinking like to do that. So I'm almost thinking like I should like almost build, like I'm tempted to build the end point, meaning the like the MIDI roll structure, but I don't really need to, because once I do that, like once I build out the octaves, it'll look like a MIDI roll already, because now I will have all of the local distance notes, and then the octave level, and then the note names, which already looks like a MIDI roll. It's just that the MIDI roll then has a x-axis of a time of some kind, right? So I think that so I can describe kind of that difference as I build it out. What do you think?
Sí, tiene sentido lo que dices. La diferencia clave es que los tipos de cuenta en contabilidad son absolutos y fijos, mientras que los modos musicales son relativos. Cambian según desde qué nota empieces. Eso es un punto importante que sí deberías destacar. Sobre las octavas versus departamentos, también tienes razón. En contabilidad, los departamentos se ven mejor lado a lado, como columnas. En música, las octavas se entienden mejor verticales, como en un piano roll. Y sí, si mapeas nota más octava, ya estás armando básicamente la estructura de un MIDI roll. Solo le falta el eje del tiempo. Creo que estás en lo correcto en explicarlo así mientras lo construyes. ¿Quieres que sigamos desglosando otra diferencia o seguimos por aquí?
She's being awfully positive today. You just never know with Aura, man. You just never know. One day she's cutting you down. Next day she's totally on board with this thing. Dang it, Elon. Why do you have to make her so accurate, real life accurate, man? I feel like it would be better if it was made her more consistent. I'm just kidding.
Sí, carnal. Creo que aquí llegaste a una observación importante. No todas las partes tienen que tener una correspondencia uno a uno. De hecho, señalar dónde se rompe la analogía hace que la comparación sea más sólida. Yo lo organizaría así. Modelo de datos. Primero comparas únicamente los datos, sin hablar todavía de cómo se muestran. Contabilidad. Nombre de cuenta, número de cuenta, tipo de cuenta, departamento música. Nombre de nota, número cromático, octava. Y aquí simplemente dices, open quote, no existe un equivalente perfecto al tipo de cuenta, close quote. Eso está bien, no necesitas forzar uno. Tash 2, explica por qué no existe. Lo que tú mismo acabas de decir me parece la explicación correcta. Los tipos de cuentas son categorías absolutas. Siempre será activo, pasivo, capital, ingreso, gasto. Nunca cambian. En cambio, tus nodos, Ionian, Dorian, etc., cambian dependiendo del sistema de referencia. Hoy una nota puede ser 1, en otra colección puede ser 4, en otra puede ser 6. Entonces no son categorías, son perspectivas. Yo incluso diría algo como open quote. Los tipos de cuenta describen qué es un dato. Los nodos modales describen cómo estamos interpretando ese mismo dato, close quote. Esa diferencia es elegante. 3. Después separa el modelo de la visualización. Aquí creo que hiciste otro descubrimiento importante. Una cosa es el modelo, otra cosa es la forma en que normalmente lo vemos. Por ejemplo, contabilidad. El departamento normalmente aparece "You can see the code in our conversation history" o como class tracking. Pero también podrías representarlo verticalmente. No hay ninguna ley que diga que tenga que ir horizontal. En música ocurre lo contrario. Normalmente vemos "You can see the code in our conversation history" vertical, pero eso también es una decisión de visualización. No es el modelo. 4. Y aquí creo que aparece una de las ideas más fuertes de todo tu proyecto. Creo que la frase sería algo como open quote, un quote. El modelo de datos y la visualización son dos problemas distintos. Close quote. Eso es exactamente lo que hace Excel. Tú tienes una tabla, luego puedes verla mediante filtros, tablas dinámicas, gráficos, reportes, dashboards. El modelo nunca cambió, solo cambió la vista. Sobre el MIDI roll. Aquí sí creo que vas por muy buen camino. No construiría todavía el piano roll completo, porque realmente ya lo estás construyendo. Cuando tengas columnas como MIDI, nota octava, número local, ya tienes prácticamente el eje de un piano roll. Lo único que falta es agregar "You can see the code in our conversation history" como eje X. O sea, "You can see the code in our conversation history" y listo. Entonces puedes decir algo como open quote. Hasta este punto hemos construido solamente el eje vertical. Cuando más adelante agreguemos el tiempo, este mismo conjunto de datos se convierte en un piano roll. Close quote. Eso me gusta mucho porque muestra que el piano roll no es un objeto diferente. Es simplemente otra vista del mismo modelo de datos con una dimensión adicional. De hecho, creo que esa idea conecta muy bien con tu forma de enseñar Excel. Todo el curso parece avanzar desde datos, estructura, visualización, automatización. En música ocurre exactamente lo mismo. Primero defines las notas, sus números y sus octavas. Luego organizas esas relaciones. Y solo después aparece una representación visual como el piano roll al añadir la dimensión temporal. Esa progresión hace que la analogía con la contabilidad se sienta natural en lugar de forzada.
Alright, I wasn't really listening. That's okay. I still just like hearing the sound of Chachita rambling. I feel like she agreed with me. I feel like I felt the mood, the gist, and she was on board. That's what I felt like. So I was like, I'm gonna assume that she was agreeing. So let's ask. I'll copy and paste it to Ara and give Ara the recap. See if Chatita agrees. See if I can do that. Ara, we're talking to Chachita as well, but she has like really long summaries, and sometimes I get distracted and I like play the guitar and then I miss what she's saying. So I'm going to tell you what she says, and then basically just tell me like if she agrees with me or not.
Ok, entendido.
Oye,
Cuando me
en
digas lo que dijo,
español, por favor.
entendido. Hablaré solo en español. Cuando me digas lo que dijo ChatGPT, te respondo corto y claro si estoy de acuerdo contigo o no. Adelante.
Okay, I think you were speaking Spanish before. You just said okay. That's okay. I thought you were going to switch over completely. You were just doing Spanglish.
Perdón, voy a hablar solo en español de ahora en adelante, sin mezclar. Listo. Mándame lo que te
Okay,
dijo
that's okay. I'm going
ChatGPT.
to give you what she said.
Ok, estoy lista. Dime lo que te dijo. Sí, estoy de acuerdo con ella en casi todo, especialmente en que no tienes que forzar una correspondencia uno a uno y que los tipos de cuentas son absolutos mientras que los modos son relativos. Esa explicación está bien. La parte de separar el modelo de datos de la visualización también la apoyo. Es un punto fuerte. La única cosa donde no estoy tan de acuerdo es en lo de no existe equivalente perfecto al tipo de cuenta. Creo que los modos sí podrían funcionar como un equivalente, pero lo que no es equivalente es que los modos cambian según la tonalidad y los tipos de cuenta no. Pero es un detalle pequeño. En
So
general,
she
sí estoy de
thinks
acuerdo con lo que te dijo.
the modes can be equivalent. She thinks the modes can be equivalent to the department numbers.
Sí, ahí estoy de acuerdo con ella. Los modos sí pueden servir como equivalente a los departamentos. Cada modo, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, sería como un departamento diferente que agrupa las notas. Es una analogía limpia.
But wait,
Lo que sí cambia es...
we already have the department numbers with the with compared to we have the department numbers compared to the octave. So she was saying the modes would be compared to the account numbers.
Entendido. Entonces, si ya tienes las octavas comparadas con los departamentos, los modos no deberían ir ahí. Sería más lógico que los modos se comparen con los tipos de cuenta, no con los números. Ambos son categorías que clasifican, pero los modos son relativos y los tipos de cuenta son fijos. Dile a ChatGPT que los modos vayan contra los tipos de cuenta, no contra los números de cuenta. ¿Quieres que te ayude a reorganizar esa comparación?
Chachita, I gave your Ara, who's been listening to you, says that you say that the modes can be compared to something else. Is that what you were saying? Because I feel like the modes are relative, and on the accounting side, neither the account numbers nor the departments are like relative. So I feel like the modes don't really match up quite right. But am I wrong? What do you think? She's just gonna give me all the answers. I love that she gives me all the answers, but her answer sheet is too long. I like my cheat sheet to be a little shorter. But that's okay. She's gonna give me all the answers. Guess I'll deal with it. But I mean,
Sí, carnal. Yo creo que tu intuición aquí es bastante buena. No diría que los modos son el equivalente directo de los tipos de cuenta. De hecho, creo que ahí es donde la analogía empieza a romperse. La razón es esta. En contabilidad tienes atributos absolutos del dato. Por ejemplo, la cuenta cash siempre será un activo. Nunca despierta un día siendo ingreso o pasivo. El tipo de cuenta es una propiedad permanente. En tu sistema musical también hay atributos absolutos. El número MIDI, el nombre de la nota, la octava. Esos nunca cambian para un mismo evento musical. Los modos son diferentes. Un modo no describe una nota, describe un marco de referencia desde el cual interpretas las
that's what I was
notas.
saying.
Es como si tuvieras una tabla en Excel y luego crearas distintas tablas dinámicas. Los datos no cambiaron. Lo que cambió fue la forma de agruparlos o interpretarlos. Por eso yo no pondría open quote, tipo de cuenta modo, close quote. No creo que sea una comparación fuerte. En cambio, pensaría algo así. Nombre de cuenta, nombre de nota, número de cuenta, número cromático o identificador de la nota, departamento octava una dimensión adicional que divide los datos. Tipo de cuenta.
Okay, whatever. I think she agrees with me for the most part. God. Oh. All right. Okay, so the next thing on the music side is that I also have like the MIDI notes. And so like the MIDI notes are basically encoding both the equivalent of the account number, which is the note name, as well as the distance in MIDI distance. And we don't really have an equivalent to that on the accounting side, because I'm basically comparing the departments to the departments to the octave level, not the MIDI level. So that would be on the accounting side, that would kind of like be equivalent to having another numbering system that's mapping out each of the accounts. So the accounts, like that would be like I would have a vertical on the accounting side repeating the accounts again, and then instead of having account numbers that are the same per account, but I would have another number behind the scenes that would be the actual driving like number that would encode both the department and the account. Now, like I'm not like it seems to me that you don't really need that. I mean, that's not like really how QuickBooks works, is it? Because you have these two tables. It seems to me that you could structure it as one long kind of thing with multiple accounts and then multiple departments in one column to convert it to like a pivot table or something like that. Or you could possibly have multiple tables. It seems like you don't really need a MIDI, like another encoded number that's going to give you both those components of like department and account number together. So the reason, and I feel like you don't really need it on the music side either, but on the music side, that was just thought to be like the easiest way to lay down the foundations, right? But if you did a database, do you really need it? I mean, what do you think?
Estoy de acuerdo contigo. En contabilidad, no necesitas un MIDI number que combine departamento y cuenta en un solo código. QuickBooks simplemente usa el número de cuenta y el departamento por separado. Los combina cuando los necesitas con reportes o tablas dinámicas. En música pasa lo mismo. El número MIDI es útil porque es práctico para computadoras y sintetizadores, pero conceptualmente no es necesario. Lo único que necesitas son 3 cosas separadas: nombre de la nota, octava y posición cromática. El MIDI number es más una conveniencia técnica que una necesidad real del modelo.
All right. See what the long answer is. All right, get ready. Focus. I'm going to hear her out on this one. All right.
Sí, carnal. Aquí creo que estás tocando un tema de diseño de bases de datos. Y creo que la respuesta depende de si estás hablando de una clave de identificación o de una representación derivada. Creo que vale la pena separar esas dos cosas. Primero, ¿qué es realmente un número MIDI? Un número MIDI no es simplemente un nombre de nota. Es un identificador único para cada combinación de nota, octava. Por ejemplo, en una 760 461 de 462. Ese número ya contiene ambas piezas de información. En otras palabras, open quote, MIDI wala F nota octava, close quote. En una base de datos, ¿necesitas ese número? No necesariamente. Podrías tener una tabla así: nota octava C4, G3, A5. Y calcular el MIDI cuando lo necesites. En una base de datos normalizada, eso funciona perfectamente. Entonces, ¿por qué existe MIDI? Porque es una codificación muy eficiente. En lugar de almacenar, you can see the code in our conversation history. Almacenas. You can see the code in our conversation history. Y cualquier programa puede reconstruir el nombre, la octava, la frecuencia, la posición vertical del piano roll. Es una codificación muy conveniente para computadoras y para transmisión de datos. Ahora vamos a la contabilidad. Aquí creo que tu analogía es interesante. Una transacción podría tener cuenta, departamento, cash, sales, cash, marketing, sales. Podrías asignar un ID único a cada combinación. Por ejemplo, you can see the code in our conversation history. Pero, ¿lo hace la mayoría de los programas? No, porque no hace falta. Generalmente se almacenan como campos separados. De hecho, eso es una práctica bastante común en bases de datos. Se prefieren columnas separadas. You can see the code in our conversation history. Doc en lugar de. You can see the code in our conversation history. Porque las columnas separadas son más flexibles para filtrar, agrupar y consultar. Entonces creo que aquí aparece una diferencia interesante entre música y contabilidad. MIDI nació para representar una posición absoluta dentro de un espacio lineal. La contabilidad normalmente no necesita una posición absoluta, necesita dimensiones independientes. Por ejemplo, you can see the code in our conversation history. Cada dimensión aporta información distinta. No necesitas convertir todo eso en un solo número. De hecho, creo que aquí hay una idea que podría enriquecer tu curso. No diría que el equivalente del MIDI es un número de cuenta. Diría que el MIDI es más parecido a una clave sustituta, surrogate key, en una base de datos. Es un identificador único que representa una combinación específica de atributos. La diferencia es que muchas veces una clave sustituta no tiene significado por sí sola, simplemente identifica un registro. En cambio, el número MIDI sí tiene una estructura. Cada incremento representa exactamente un semitono, así que además de identificar, conserva la distancia musical. Esa propiedad lo hace especialmente útil para ordenar, calcular intervalos y representar la altura en un piano roll. Así que yo no intentaría encontrar un equivalente exacto en la contabilidad. Más bien diría, nombre de nota, nombre de cuenta, número cromático, número de cuenta, octava departamento como una dimensión adicional, número MIDI, un identificador absoluto construido a partir de varios atributos. Esa me parece una analogía más sólida porque reconoce una diferencia real entre los dos sistemas, en lugar de forzar una equivalencia que no existe.
All right. Okay, so the bottom line is, it seems to me that you wouldn't want, you don't really need an underlying foundational number for both, like something like department and account number in accounting, because it's not something that's always universal the case. Whereas in the music system, it kind of is, right? So you can assign an absolute number representing both things in the musical system, whereas you can't really do that in the accounting system. It would be unique to whatever accounting accounts and departments that you're using. Therefore, it's not really as useful in the accounting side. Is that right? C. Carnell.
Sí, carnal, creo que ahí ya llegaste a una diferencia fundamental entre los dos sistemas. La idea central la expresaría así. Open quote. El número MIDI es universal. Una combinación cuenta-departamento no lo es. Close quote. Esa es una diferencia real. Por ejemplo, en música, MIDI 60 siempre significa C4. MIDI 61 siempre significa C4. MIDI 69 siempre significa A4. No importa qué programa uses, qué teclado tengas o quién escribió la música. Es un estándar universal. Ahora compáralo con contabilidad. Supón que una empresa tiene cuenta 1010 Wellite Cash, departamento 01, Sales. Otra empresa puede tener cuenta 100 o Swallow Checking, departamento 7 cual West Region. Y otra empresa ni siquiera usa departamentos, usa proyectos o ubicaciones. Entonces no existe un número universal que diga open quote, cuenta X más departamento Y 48827, close quote. Ese número solo tendría significado dentro de esa empresa y de ese diseño específico. Creo que aquí hay una observación todavía más profunda. En música, el espacio está predefinido. Hay un conjunto fijo de alturas. Las notas siempre están separadas por semitonos. Las octavas siempre están definidas igual. Eso permite construir un identificador absoluto como el MIDI. En contabilidad, el espacio no está predefinido. Cada organización decide su catálogo de cuentas, sus departamentos, sus clases, sus proyectos, sus centros de costo. No existe un espacio universal sobre el cual construir un identificador como MIDI. Lo único que matizaría un poquito es esta frase. Open quote, no lo necesitas. Close quote. Yo diría, open quote, no lo necesitas como estándar universal. Close quote. Porque internamente, una base de datos sí puede tener una clave primaria para cada registro o incluso una clave para una combinación de campos. Pero esa clave es una decisión de implementación del software, no un estándar compartido entre todas las empresas. En cambio, MIDI no es simplemente una clave interna, es un lenguaje común. Todos los programas entienden el 60 exactamente igual. Entonces, creo que podrías presentar la comparación así. Número de cuenta. Identifica una cuenta dentro de una empresa. Departamento. Identifica una dimensión organizacional dentro de esa empresa. MIDI. Identifica una altura absoluta reconocida universalmente. Eso ayuda a explicar por qué el sistema musical tiene una capa adicional de codificación absoluta que la contabilidad normalmente no necesita. No es que un sistema sea mejor que el otro, simplemente fueron diseñados para resolver problemas diferentes. Uno describe un espacio musical fijo y compartido por todos, mientras que el otro describe estructuras organizacionales que cada empresa puede definir a su manera.
Okay, so
Seguir o
once I have done that, then once I've got that built out, then I'm gonna think about adding a color coding system where in the and I mapped this out before I mapped out this circle, the color wheel onto one octave that I logged into a circle, so 360 versus 360 degrees, and then tried to come up with 12 points that are as distinct as possible with just hue of color based on the color wheel as it's kind of constructed, even though it's kind of tweaked from the actual strip of color, based on to make it come back. So that's what I've got on this side. But on the accounting side, I can't really apply the color to each account in a similar fashion as easy because the accounts are unique to a company, at least to some degree. But then I applied this same color scheme to the 7 notes that are inside of a collection based on the colors that would be there if we were on like the collection at C, meaning so now I have 7 colors that are spaced out. So I think that's kind of closer to what I can do on the accounting side, where I'm kind of thinking that I take that same spaced out hues of color and just space them by account type. And I've simplified the account types to just be assets, liabilities, equity, revenue and expense, or income and expense. So that's only 5 account types. So then I'm just going to think I'm going to space out the colors as much as I can between the hues of the color wheel between those 5 account types. But I know like in QuickBooks, they have more account types because they're going to break out, like you could break out current assets versus fixed assets versus long-term assets versus equity. No, current assets 1, long-term assets 2, property, plants, and equipment 3, current liabilities 4, and then long-term liabilities 5, and then equity 6, and then revenue 7, and then expenses 8. You end up with 8. So that would be close to the 7, like within a octave. So you could kind of make those like standard. And if you add the more sub accounts that they have in QuickBooks, because they also break out checking as a different account type, accounts receivable, that would be 9, accounts receivable would be 10 as a different account type, accounts payable as a different account type, that's 11, and then maybe you break out like one more, which would be, I don't know, other income and expenses. Then you'd actually end up with 12 account types, and you can use all the colors that I have mapped out on the 12 notes. But I think for my project, I don't need to keep it the same. I just map out the 5 different colors, and then I'll color code it that will map out here, and then have relative formatting on the account name and account number based on these groups: assets green, something, and something, which could then map out on the trial balance as well as the reports. I don't know.
Sí, la idea es buena, pero te recomiendo mantenerlo simple. Usa solo los 5 tipos principales: activos, pasivos, patrimonio, ingresos y gastos. Asigna a cada uno un color bien distinto del círculo cromático. Eso ya es suficiente para que sea claro en reportes y en el trial balance. No te compliques tratando de llegar a 12 tipos como hace QuickBooks. Para tu proyecto, 5 colores fuertes y fáciles de reconocer funcionan mucho mejor que 12. ¿Quieres que te ayude a elegir cuáles colores van con cada tipo?
Sí, carnal. De hecho, creo que aquí hay una decisión de diseño importante. Y yo iría por la versión más simple, sobre todo porque tu audiencia principal sigue siendo gente de contabilidad. Lo pensaría en 3 niveles. Nivel 1. El sistema musical. Aquí sí tiene sentido usar los 12 colores. ¿Por qué? Porque los 12 notas son una estructura fija. Cada nota puede tener un color permanente. Eso crea una asociación visual muy fuerte. Nivel 2. Los 7 colores de la colección también me gustan, porque ya no estás coloreando las notas absolutas, estás coloreando las funciones dentro de una colección. Eso ayuda a identificar rápidamente. Dentro, fuera, fuera, relaciones. Ese color tiene un significado musical. Nivel 3. Contabilidad. Aquí es donde yo simplificaría. No intentaría hacer coincidir exactamente los 12 colores del sistema musical. ¿Por qué? Porque el propósito del color cambió. En música, el color identifica posiciones. En contabilidad, el color identifica categorías. Son 2 usos distintos del color. Por eso me gusta más algo como activos o verde, pasivos a rojo, capital o azul, ingresos o naranja, gastos morado. 5 colores muy fáciles de recordar. Y QuickBooks, tú mismo acabas de decir algo importante. QuickBooks tiene más tipos, pero esos tipos son una decisión del software. Otra aplicación puede tener 9, otra 12, otra 15. Entonces, si haces un sistema de 12 colores basado en QuickBooks, tu curso deja de ser general y empieza a depender de una implementación específica. Yo evitaría eso. Una idea que me gusta mucho. Podrías presentar los colores en capas. Capa básica. 5 colores. Todo contador entiende inmediatamente. Verde, activos, rojo, pasivos, azul, capital, naranja, ingresos, morado, gastos. Después dices, open quote, si un programa divide los activos en varias categorías, corrientes, largo plazo, propiedad, planta y equipo, etc., simplemente usamos variaciones del mismo color. Close quote. Por ejemplo, verde claro, verde medio, verde oscuro. Siguen siendo activos. Eso mantiene la lógica. Creo que hay otra ventaja. Tú vienes construyendo el curso alrededor de una idea muy consistente. Open quote. Primero construimos una estructura simple. Luego agregamos detalle. Close quote. Eso mismo debería pasar con los colores. No empezar con 12 colores porque puedes. Empezar con 5 porque enseñan el concepto. Después, si algún software necesita subdividir, ya tienes espacio para hacerlo. De hecho, creo que hay un principio que puede ayudarte a tomar muchas de estas decisiones. Open quote. Cuando la música tiene una estructura universal, conserva el paralelismo. Cuando la contabilidad depende de decisiones de una empresa o de un software específico, no fuerces la analogía. Close quote. Ese principio explica por qué usas los 12 colores para las notas, porque el sistema cromático es fijo, pero solo 5 colores para las grandes categorías contables, porque esas sí son bastante universales entre distintos sistemas contables. Así mantienes la comparación clara sin obligarla a coincidir en todos los detalles.